Off top, we got a live show, Super Bowl week. It is going to be February 5th at 6 p.m. at the Strand Theater. Mina Kimes is going to be there. I'll be there. Marcus Spears, Kevin Clark will be there too. And my man Charlie Kravitz, you got to go to foxworthpodlive.com, foxworthpodlive.com to get all your tickets. Proceeds are going to Special Olympics because we're good people and so are they. That's it. Play music.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show. Championship week, y'all. I'm excited. We got Mina Kimes, as we always do. Mina Seahawks are in it. I'm rooting for them. I think they got the edge. We'll get to that at some point. Where do you want to start, though? I feel like we got to start with the.
Oh, we should definitely start with the better game. We will table Patriots Broncos, the Jarrett Stidham Bowl, for after we get through.
I'm actually pretty excited about the Jarrett Stidham Bowl.
I am too. But this is like based on the two regular season matchups we've seen from the Rams and the Seahawks. They performed like probably the two best teams in the NFL for most of the season. So I think this one's a fair one to lead with. You said your gut is that the Seahawks have the edge in this game. We can start with maybe a why or how you see this game unfolding.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be completely fair. It's almost impossible to differentiate between these two teams. I think maybe I'm leaning that way because of the recent form, which is not fair. But Matt Stafford struggled a little bit. If you go back to that game where they played against each other, I was surprised at how well it seemed like Matt Stafford performed against the blitz specifically. Because I think Mina and I talked about this on her show, is how the corner blitz for the Bears kind of gave Matt Stafford trouble. And then I'm watching the tape of that last Seahawks game, and I'm like, all the plays, the big plays, the important plays that he made, it wasn't just blitzes, it's also sims. It felt like he had a good feel for where to go to find the matchups, because the Seahawks do like an interesting coverage that can morph depending on the route combinations that they get and put people out of position. Sometimes the safety will have to play corner. Sometimes the corner will end up having to like slide inside to take on a linebacker's responsibility because they want to be able to get their pass rush advantage. And it seemed like Matt Stafford had a beat on all that stuff, which was shocking to me because I know Mina had pointed out when we talked how bad Matt Stafford was against the corner blitz all season. But in this game, he had success. So it's hard for me to be able to project for these two teams that are so close.
So going back and watching those blitzes, they blitzed him in the gun, and I think that's part of the reason why he was able to dice him up. And it was, what you saw against Chicago was they were able to get him from out of, they were able to basically get them to stop putting him under center and running their play action, which is the kind of the core of the Rams offense with the corner blitzes. In the Seahawks game, those big plays happened where he was in the gun and able to read it out. And I think for Mike McDonald, that's a key adjustment in this one. I would not send pressure when he's in the gun. Now, he can beat you other ways in the gun. I'm not saying this is like a secret formula, but you are able, I genuinely believe you can kind of dictate to the Rams and make them a little bit more predictable with your blitzes. And they didn't do that the last time.
Yeah, I'm surprised that, to the point that you made, I would assume that they've seen these corner blitzes before and they would have some answers to it. I'm surprised they didn't have an answer in this game, because you're saying you can dictate them out of their under center stuff and into the gun. Like, I'm shocked that they're like, oh, I answered that. We got to get in the gun. Matt Stafford's not athletic enough. We don't have the weapons here or the play call and play design to be able to take advantage of that. I'm surprised, particularly with Puka, like jet sweep or like the ghost motion or something like that. I don't know. I'm sure Matt Stafford I'm sure Sean McVay will have some answers for it, but it still may not be exactly what they want to do. Getting them out of the under center play action game would be a dream, because that is their offense all season long, is that. And in particular in this last matchup, like Puka, 200 yards, like it's just unstoppable, right?
Killed them in the last matchup.
Yeah, no. So do you think that's a lesson learned? It'll be a chess match coming off the Chicago game where the Rams are going to have to adjust because Seattle's going to have somewhat of a playbook to get the Rams less comfortable, because the offense was not really the issue the last time these teams played.
Yeah, and that was shocking to me. Like going back, the Rams offense is one of the only offenses, maybe the only offense that had like real success, consistent success.
The Bucs did, but the entire Seahawks secondary was injured in that game. People forget. Yeah.
A lot of people forget. I forgot about that game. This defense has been.
I know. Baker MVP, RIP.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Baker was that game. I do remember that game because Baker's passes were unsustainably accurate. And I know Baker is very accurate, but it was like such anticipation in those zones. And I guess Matt Stafford has that arm. I feel like his arm strength and accuracy hasn't been all that great so far in the playoffs.
He's missed some throws for sure.
But that's important because the coverage in these games, the way that the Seahawks play these kind of this man in a zone concept where the coverage adapts to the route combinations. It's like the arm talent and the understanding of the coverage, which I think is one of the things that that teams do a lot against them, is they do stacks to make it unclear who's going to go in, who's going to go out, who's going to go vertical, who's going to go short. Because it feels like that's what the Seahawks are doing. If you have 2 receivers, they want 3 coverage guys over top of them. Mm-hmm. And there's one waiting on the inside, there's one waiting on the outside, and there's one who is aware or who is there for the deep route. Normally when you have guys stacked, you're not going to send them both deep because it doesn't really make sense.
Right.
And the Rams like do these crosses and then like a sit down. So they get in a position. I feel like it's hard to imagine what I'm saying, but the point is they know how to get open, but you're never going to be open for that long. So like the quick decision making and the arm strength to zip it into these windows.
Isn't that the superpower of the Seahawks defense? Just the speed everywhere and being able to play small or play big with small people out there who are really fast.
And physical.
Yeah. So can I ask you about the Seahawks side of this a tiny bit? Because you said in your intro that you said they're the hottest team right now. They're playing the best football. And I don't disagree. But when I was thinking about that, is that a bit of a mirage based on the fact that they play? They had the bye and then they played a really injured 49ers team that was sort of had maybe maximized where they're going to get to this season. And I don't know if that's the case or if we learned something by the way they're able to run the ball, how good Kenneth Walker looked, how dominant they have been the last 2 times we've seen them.
I think the improvement in the run game is real because it's a multi-week thing. It's kind of the second half of the season. They really rediscovered it. And some of that had to do with the way defenses were playing them because defenses were over-indexing on the pass correctly against them, right? And the question was, can they actually run them out of these looks and get them back into single high so that they can play action them? And I feel like the answer is yes. And look, the San Francisco 49ers run defense, terrible, very injured. Mm-hmm. But they were running the ball well before that game, Charlie. They ran the ball really well against the Rams the last time these teams played. I think that's kind of everything here, right? Like if you tell me that Seattle can continue putting big bodies, their tight ends and the fullback on the field, and that they can run the ball as efficiently as they did last time against the Rams, I think they will win this game. Yeah. I really do. Now, what I'll say about the Rams is they didn't have Quentin Lake, who is their hybrid nickel safety, who's a very important part of their run defense. And I think they're coming off a game where, while the offense wasn't impressive, I thought the Rams' run defense was extraordinary against Chicago. So, to me, Dominique, you can tell me what you think. I think that's like the key matchup here because
we can go ahead and say it.
If you want. What?
I said we can go ahead and say it. I mean, it's about Sam Darnold. Like, if we didn't, they don't want to be in.
We're getting there.
Yeah,
We're getting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's probably the biggest as far as storyline is concerned.
Yeah,
and maybe it's not the most important thing for like on the field, actually X's and O's stuff. I like the place that we started, but ultimately, it's hard to explain why Sam Darnold has struggled so mightily against his team. And I know he led a game-winning drive last game, but I have recently just rewatched that game, and I am reminded he wasn't good against the Rams. He wasn't good.
Certainly not in the first two and a half quarters.
Yeah, the first game he was bad.
But what happened in the game is what I'm describing, right? They got them to play base, and they play actioned against them, and they were able to run their play action core concepts against them.
Yeah, so I mean that's
right. Like it's the formula. It's the same.
And I think there's I hate to use the seeing ghosts thing with Sam Darnold because it's been unfairly attached to him, but I think there is a hurdle that he has to clear when it comes to these big game situations and also this specific team. I think you're super fortunate that it's not as much of a storyline because they were able to kind of miraculously pull out that last game against them, but I assume that offense and Sam Darnold both know that this defense is going to be hell for them if they can't run the ball and can't get explosive running the ball too. Like it's not just effective running the ball, it's explosives. And there's always going to be in most of these games, even like I feel like the Patriots game stands out in my mind as like the most recent one from last week where the quarterback didn't have to be great for you to win. But even in that game, he had to make a couple throws.
Yeah.
You have to make a couple throws. So no matter how good that running game is, he's going to have to make a couple throws on obvious downs.
And last week he did, right? Again, Niners defense, all of that. But, like, I don't care about the defense. That throw rolling to his left to JSN in the end zone was a dime. And he's going to have to do that again. Yeah. I don't think he's got to throw for, 300 yards against this team. I believe the run game is the most important factor here, but you're absolutely right. It's not like he can just coast on this, especially the left tackle situation is kind of murky for Seattle. And you, Domonique, you alluded to this, like, Shula got him a couple times in week 16 with coverage disguise and then simulated pressure. He's going to do it again. Can Darnold avoid the back-breaking mistakes? Because one was in the red zone, right? Like the simulated pressure where he threw it to Kobe Turner. So he cannot do that in this game. It's this defensive coordinator has been his Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga? Who's the John Wick?
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways.
Yeah. I'm more of a Fast and Furious guy. Babadook. There's some Babadooks.
Anyways.
Can I...
you know what I mean.
Yeah. So... By the way, we should note that we're taping this on Thursday. On Wednesday, Quentin Lake and Byron Young were non-participants in practice. McVay said, particularly with Byron Young, they're just being ultra cautious with them. But that feels like an important detail if you're going to speed Darnold up to have Young and Verse collapsing the outside.
Lake is big too, because I thought his absence was a big deal in week 16.
We talked a little bit about Puka's impact on that game. I think the other side, the JSN impact is huge too. I don't think of Kubiak as nearly as effective an offensive mind as Shanahan, and I also don't think of the Seahawks as an offense with as many different ways to attack you. So they didn't do a great job in my view of containing JSN. They move JSN around in the same way that it reminds me of more McCaffrey and kind of Puka, where they put him in the backfield. They just find ways to get him the ball. It didn't seem that the Rams had a specific game plan to shut him out when they played last time. I'd be interested to see, particularly on third downs, if they figure out some other way to force them, frankly, to go to someone else, to attack the tight ends, to check it down, or to rely on Kupp, who they thought was no longer good enough to play for them.
Cooper Kupp revenge factor. But the JSN thing is huge because, for people who forgot, he was blanked in the first half, and then Domonique alluded to this. They found a way. They put him in the backfield, I think at the beginning of the second half, right? And then when the Rams did over-index to covering him, boom, A.J. Barner, leak, wide open for the touchdown on the throwback. So he is their queen on the chessboard, and very different style of player, obviously, but it is similar to Puka for the Rams, who destroyed Seattle in the Week 16, by the way.
Did you pick a team, or are you picking for this game, or is it too close to your heart?
I went Seahawks. I went Seahawks, and some of that for me was just the Matt Stafford performances of the last 2 weeks.
Do you think the injury, or you think he hit his hand?
His finger.
Yeah. You think that explains it?
Something's going on. I don't know. He's still capable of in the insane throw to Devontae and drives, but it seems to me like there might be a little bit of a consistency factor that they might be able to take advantage of. But
Yeah, I think I'm leaning Seahawks also, but mostly just because I feel like this season has been kind of defined by defense, and I think you, like me, would not be shocked if the Rams win. I don't feel super confident that the Seahawks are definitely going to win in this game, but I think the difference in this game, I think, would be that defense is more reliable and more complete and will give trouble to the Rams in a way that I think the Rams defense won't be able to, assuming that the Seahawks will be able to run the ball. So, yeah, I think I'm leaning Seahawks there, which will be fun because that'll be Charlie's favorite quarterback getting to the Super Bowl.
Darnold?
Yeah, he's your new guy.
He's my guy.
I decided he's your guy.
Okay, I'll take him. I guess how I get thrown on the Seahawks bandwagon. That's great for me.
It's because last week you were trying to argue that Sam Darnold was going to raise to some new echelon of quarterback if he won a Super Bowl. And I was like, nah, that's not quite true.
I still think he would if he played lights out.
No, it's not.
Context matters.
The context matters, but he can play lights out and he's not going to be one of them dudes. It's just not.
No, yeah, of course. we know this. We'll get back to in August. There's tiers of dudes. And he might go up a tier of dude, but not to the top tier of dude.
He might make it into the
Tiers of
DAX.
dudes.
Yeah.
He could.
Sounds like my mentions.
Tiers. Oh, well done. Because
Thank you.
different kind of tiers. You get it, Charlie?
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's talk Patriots Broncos. So this game, people like I feel like the narrative all week where people are like, this is like the most like Saturday 1 p.m. slot of a playoff game that's possible, but despite it being the AFC Championship game, the line shows that it was 6.5 at one point for the Patriots. Is a big difference where they think that without Bo Nix, they are a big favorite against this Denver team on the road. We only have 4 starts from Jarrett Stidham to work off of. There was the small period where Bill Belichick tried to sell us on this guy as like a future starter. On the other side, we have this Patriots team where the defense has looked awesome. Their MVP quarterback has fumbled the ball quite a few times in 2 games. Do you see this game as having as big of a gap as Vegas does?
No, I don't. What did you say? It was 5?
6.5.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's gotten bigger, but
6.5.
at one point
Really?
it was 6.5
That's
on the road.
That's surprising to me, and I think so. I went through this roller coaster where it's like, all right, Stidham's in, the Broncos are done. Then I listened to all the people tell me how
Down to 5.5 now.
All right.
It peaked at 6.5 earlier in the week.
Then I'm listening to everyone who knows Sean Payton tell me how good Jarrett Stidham is, and I started to buy it. Then I was like, that's hogwash. So eventually I got around to actually watching the Jarrett Stidham stuff, and like I kind of think it's true. Like last week's game, I said that the deciding factor for the Broncos against the Bills was the deep ball accuracy. And Bo Nix was 4 for 6 on deep balls. One of them was dropped by Sutton. It could have been 5 for 6 on passes of over 20 or more air yards and 2 touchdowns and won the game. Because that's how their offense to me is designed. We're going to run the ball, we're going to throw screens, and we're going to take shots. We hit our shots, our offense is good. We don't hit our shots, it's not good. So my first assumption is they're going to the backup quarterback. The deep ball actually takes a hit. I don't see the deep ball accuracy taking a hit. Bo Nix was never like a consistent deep ball thrower. So assuming, and the reads are always pretty simple on those plays. So I think that they'll have as good a chance on that part of their game as they would otherwise with Jarrett Stidham. The athleticism, I was surprised that I thought Stidham, he scrambled a lot more.
There it is. I knew it.
You were surprised.
This is the exact. You're going through the process that literally everybody who's taking the time to actually watch the Jarrett Stidham tape has gone through. There's a moment we were like, okay, he can move.
You know what's funny? That's the only.
We all had it.
That's the only thing I remembered about Jarrett Stidham was that he's actually athletic.
No, I mean, cool it. He was surprisingly athletic.
Why does it have to be surprising?
Because he ran a 4.8 and
also, but when the Patriots went to Cam Newton over him, a lot of the reasoning was like, oh, they want a mobile quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying they're going to call it design. I think he's not going to give you like the designed run game the way Bo Nix does. I don't think they're going to be calling, but he can throw on the move, and he looks to throw on the move. I've been saying all week, but whatever, on my show and on TV the last couple of days, Stidham's he is an absolutely functional NFL backup was my takeaway watching him. Like, he is reasonably accurate. He's got enough arm strength to push the ball downfield. He has functional athleticism. I think where I start to worry about him and against this Patriots defense is, and Ben and I talked about this, I think he's more likely to have negative plays. Like, Bo Nix, for whatever your criticisms of him, protects the football, right? Turns both sacks and interceptions. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get Stidham both on the ground, and I think they could pick him. And then, like, it's not even, I'm not even saying like, oh, they're going to do crazy coverage rotate. No, I just think that there's a strong possibility he throws a ball he shouldn't. To me, like, Domonique, what I find so interesting is like the Patriots defense has faced absolute cupcakes in the postseason. Patriots
particularly offensive lines.
They faced a quarterback having a mental breakdown last week.
So, like, the Patriots and this isn't a Patriots criticism because Drake May has had to face a Gallin, right? But the defense. So I think what I'm interested in seeing, guys, is like, okay, how much of the Patriots defensive, like, peaking at the right time and people would say, well, Stidham's a cupcake too, whatever. I'm not saying that he proposes, more difficult competition, pardon me. But this is clearly the best offensive line that they've gone on by a mile. You're going from like the bottom of the league to the top of the league here. So I'll be interested in seeing if they can actually like get a lot of pressure. I wouldn't be surprised if they blitz him a lot. And, interested in seeing Sean Payton can come up with answers to that.
One thing on that. So given how like, I'm going to say this in a not trolly way because I understand that he's, probably going to be the runner up to the MVP. But given how he's played,
that's where I was going
in his first 2 playoff games and what we know these defenses are capable of, how big of a gap do you think there's actually going to be in like the quarterback play this week? I know that sounds insane.
No.
I think, just in like a 1-game sample, are the Broncos defense going to give him?
Yeah, I mean,
give him equal.
And it's also how he's played and how they called the game. So like they called last week's game in a way. Well, I mean, they were going against the Texans defense. So they called
more about the Broncos and Patriots defense is what I'm trying to get to.
They called that game for Drake May in a way that I thought was very conservative, which I understand, and they still kind of had a bad offensive game against that team. So in the game before, I know he played better in the second half, but ultimately that was not MVP level quarterback play. So he'll be going on the road for this playoff game, which is another level of difficulty. Like I think your question is fair. I think there is a higher ceiling. I guess
there's obviously a higher ceiling with Drake May.
I get that, but I think there's a higher ceiling for Jarrett Stidham than I originally thought, considering that he's a backup. Like he could put up numbers, but I think what you're actually kind of asking, maybe you don't realize it or not, is like how real is this Patriots defense?
And
because I don't think that they're as bad. Bad's the wrong word. I think they're a lot closer to the Broncos than the season would suggest.
That's what it seems like watching the last couple games. They look so fast.
I love corners too, and they're winning up front. They're winning again. That goes back to the bad offensive lines. They're killing people up front.
Doesn't it feel like they're killing people in a different way though than the way the Texans did too, with like the interior pressure and those defensive tackles?
And they're blitzing. Yeah. They blitz the out of them. Yeah. They blitz both teams like crazy and
tight man coverage. Yeah.
I was just checking on Carlton Davis, by the way. Carlton Davis back at practice. Okay. Nice. Yeah, I think like the Patriots defense is better than what we saw during the regular season, and they're not as good as the team that made CJ Stroud completely melt down, if that makes sense. I think they're good. But yeah, it's and Drake May too, like, I think the fumbling has been the issue. I think otherwise I think he's played pretty well, but the fumbling is real. Mm-hmm. He's got to protect the football, and that's Denver's best chance.
And the Broncos defense isn't without weakness. I think we talked about this last week, how this was a better matchup and the Broncos defense had fallen off some from where they were earlier in the season. And because both of these teams, honestly, if we go based on recent history with the Patriots, especially, both these teams are going to play a lot of man coverage. The Broncos are going to expose Hufanga. They're going to expose Singleton, the linebacker. Riley Moss, I defend Riley Moss at all costs, but like they're going to put him in man coverage with no help. Like there will be opportunities, especially if Drake May throws. And honestly, it comes down to if they can keep the pass rushers off of him, right?
That's what I was wondering is like how big of an issue is the left side of the line going to be?
Is there no like a prop bet on Riley Moss DPI on Kayshon Boutte on a go ball? Because I would take that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Mortal luck. Yeah. No, Charlie. Nick Bonito. You gotta take over this game. Yeah, against Campbell. They'll give Campbell help. They'll probably put big bodies on the field, decent amount, and try to chip him and such. But I don't see a path to the Broncos winning this unless they can bring it. And it's not just turnovers. I think just May's taking sacks as well.
I saw
pass rush has to go crazy.
Danny Kelly put out a theory that maybe starting with the Chargers game that they figured out both Owe and obviously Will Anderson, the Texans defensive end, like figured out the timing of when Drake May drops the ball on his arm motion, and that they're all like they had a planned time of when they were going to reach out at the direct bottom point of his arm motion, which I thought was throwing motion, which I thought was kind of funny. Who knows? You still have to get there in like 2 seconds to even have a chance at that because he's throwing
right. But Bonito can.
Yeah.
All right, that was fun. We did we close out our season? We won, right?
No, we lost. We're 1-1 against Mina in this survivor.
Woo!
I couldn't fix it.
With all our cheating, we still lost.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Mina Kimes. Thank you,
you.
Mina, for joining us. I'll see you in LA. Charlie, you're the man. Appreciate it. Podville, I love you. We out.
San Francisco. Please don't go to LA. Go to San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to both.
We're going to both.
We'll see you in LA and San
Aren't you
Francisco.
going to be in LA too?
You're going to LA?
Yeah, we're going to LA day after.
Oh, for the game after San Francisco. You're going to be there.
boom,
Oh, yeah. I'll see
boom.
you there, bud.
See you in California. Bye.
See ya.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.